This is looking like quite the year for animation, with the Super Mario Bros. Movie already hitting past $1 billion and plenty of other exciting projects on the way. But for many people, their most anticipated animated film of this year was Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse after a 5-year wait from the original. Now, something I don't usually have to do is watch a recap video or rewatch the first film before seeing the next one, but this film I did need a refresher because it has been 5 years, and also, I was so immersed into that first film where it just felt a bit dreamlike, and that's to the film's credit. And so yeah, a refresher was needed, and I'm happy I did that because we do go straight into things with this film, even though it is set a bit further on in time. After all that research, I thought I somehow messed up my ears, as in the first sequence of Across the Spider-Verse, I could barely hear the dialogue, and I thought it was just my cinema being crap again, but it turns out that that's been an issue for many people. This audio issue did rear its head a few more times as the film went on, but Across the Spider-Verse's stunning animation certainly makes up for it. When Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse came out in 2018, its original style of animation was triumphed, and now 5 years later they've advanced on that, and you are just sat there in awe watching this film.
Dear God, it's beautiful.
In particular, of the more emotional scenes, the colours adapt as the scene progresses. It really does a lot to add to the dialogue being said, and it's something which can't be replicated in live action. Speaking of emotional scenes, this film blends together very well in terms of the family drama with a strong focus on parenting, and the comedy and the story. It all just come together so well, and you do get really invested in the story because it is so well written. There are though some jokes which you do miss because they flash on screen so quickly, and by the time you're trying to finish reading it, it disappears from screen, and so it does promote repeat viewings just so you can catch them all. The film is frantic, there's no denying that, and sometimes it does feel like your head's in a washing machine, but the filmmakers do let the film breathe at times and also clarify situations, and I think that definitely will help for the casual fan, because I think it's not the easiest to pick up for a casual fan, because it is such a deeply involved film, and it's a film where the filmmakers have really flourished as much as they can do. With some animated films, you can get easily distracted by a voice actor behind a certain character because of their voice being so well known. And in this film, I'd say Hailee Steinfeld is probably one of the most prolific actors because she's done other voice work in things like Arcane, which is another great animated project by the way. But you never think of that character from that show, and she does well to differentiate the two. And overall, I think a lot of the voice actors really did well to embody their characters. And the same can be said for the soundtrack, which I think is one of the best of the year. They really did nail the electronic and the sci-fi themes here, and it just worked perfectly with the universes on show. In some of my recent reviews, I've been talking about runtimes and how certain films don't actually earn that extended runtime, but with this film, I think it does do that, and it does leave you craving more at the end of it. The ending of the film is a controversial one, as it is certainly a part one of a story, and also they do leave you at quite a critical moment. I personally thought it worked quite well, but we'll see if it was a wise decision or not by the time the next film comes out, which should be in less than a year, with Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. In Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse though, there are some great new additions in terms of new characters like new Spider-Men, new Spider-People, new Spider-Creatures, and there's plenty of Easter eggs going around as well, and they are supplementary, not like a key focus of the film like we've seen with some in the past. They are supplementary and there's plenty to find. The villain in this film is a character called The Spot, and he kind of reminded me of COVID-19 in the sense that at the start you don't really take him very seriously, but as he advances throughout the film you're like, okay, this guy's actually a real deal, we got to make sure we sort him out, and so I think by the end of the film I was actually really impressed with him. I also really enjoyed the chemistry he had with Miles Morales, and Miles, who I've yet to talk about so far, he was absolutely fantastic once again. He's engaging, he's energetic, and I think you can really feel a lot of empathy towards him in many situations with his parents and with Gwen. And with him and Gwen, they are a great duo. They have a lot of parallels between each other, and they have some perfect scenes together as well. There are a few pacing issues in the first half of the film, but once we start swinging into the action and meeting some of the new Spider variants, it captivates you and it doesn't let go. As it stands, Across the Spider-Verse is a shoo-in to win Best Animated Film at the Oscars next year, and it really was a treat to see this on the big screen. And I think if you have seen Into the Spider-Verse and you enjoyed that, then definitely check this one out ASAP, because apart from a few issues here and there, this was probably one of my favourite films of the year. I'm really looking forward to see where they take this story and Beyond the Spider-Verse, but on Across the Spider-Verse, did you enjoy it as much as me? Let me know your thoughts down below. And if you want to swing into another video, on screen right now is our review for The Little Mermaid.